Well, hello, and how's everybody doing out there? Thank you very much for attending or viewing or listening or participating. Uh, yes, we're going to be talking about group economics today, and we're going to be specifically focusing on an aspect of it, on how it can be used and applied. What are some applications? These are subgroup applications. We dig down, we go deeper, and we find out how does it work. Subgroup applications. All right. Well, let's dig into it. Subgroup applications. The concept or the principle is fairly simple to learn, simple to understand and implement. But if you go deeper into it, in the applications can get a little complex, can get a little complicated. It depends. It really depends on how far the individual wants to take it. You go at your own speed. Then we're going to get into different types of subgroup applications and the usages. Um, for group economics. You may not be familiar with that term. We're going to go into that or what that is, or maybe you are. You may, some of it may be familiar to you. You may already be, accustomed to it. But none of these definitions, interpretations, or applications are anything new. We're just putting a little twist on some traditional settings and usages. What is it all based on? These are the concepts. Group group economics concept, cooperative economics concept, joint venture partnership concept, joint venture marketing, cooperative marketing, and team building. Now, all those have different meanings and different definitions, but we're just listing them at this point. We're not going into too much detail into those particular things. All right, the first application we're going to focus on, there's going to be four of them. Number one of those four is the joint venture partnership application, defining, explaining, and exemplifying that application. What does that really mean? Well, for the joint venture setting of group economics, let us define group economics and its joint venture application. Now, this is primarily going to be geared towards small mom and pop type businesses, not necessarily large corporations, $1 million, $1 billion corporations, Walmart, Apple, Microsoft, ventures of this size. We're not necessarily speaking on that. Although the potential to expand to a corporate level or size is always there. Somebody can always do that. But that depends on the ambition of the individuals or the partners involved. You don't have to be a millionaire or grow it into a corporate size entity, but the choice is there to do that. Okay, let's go into an example. Suppose you want to open up a restaurant, gas station, convenience store, something to that effect, in your local area, your local community, for local reasons as a merchant. Fine. We're going to use that little example as a scenario or that scenario. You're going to need a figure to get everything rolling. We're going to use this figure, 10,000, in startup funds to start your convenience store, your gas station, your grocery store, to start the ball rolling, to get the store up, to get the funding, to get the business done, to get the equipment, to get the marketing, to get the labor costs, all those things necessary. Now, how would you raise those funds? Well, there's a lot of ways to do that. Traditional ways, could be parents, could be you have a bank account, a credit check. There's a lot of different ways that it can be done. But let's look at it some of the non-traditional ways and sort of a creative way to approach that. Well, it's not really that creative, but let's just look at it from a different perspective. Let's put 5 people, or among 5 people of us, to shoulder the burden, partners, into this joint venture. Let's look at $10,000, that figure that we mentioned earlier, and there's about 5 of us in the entity, 5 of us in the group. 2,000 per person that we've helped to raise or to input, we have our 10,000. In a brief example, let's say to open up that restaurant or that gas station, it takes that $10,000 investment. Let's set a deadline of about 90 days to get those funds in place and to get everything secured. Now, with the 5 people in this arrangement, we're calling it a group economics joint venture partnership type of arrangement. At $2,000, we need around about 700 or so, um, monthly in about a 3-month period, in order to get that 2,000. Each partner doing that. So $2,000 each, $700 a month, times 5 partners, that equals about $3,500 monthly that we're gonna be securing with to get to our 10,000. And and at the end of the 3-month periods, then we'll have our $10,000. So $700 a month, you break that down weekly, that's about 175 a week. It's equivalent of maybe a part-time job, let's say a McDonald's job or something similar to that. In about 3 months, we'd have our 10K. Make any sense? Well, that's just the beginning. Using that little small example, just scratches the surface, the possibilities, and the unlimited potential of this powerful concept. Just as one application. You can use this for a mechanic shop. You can use this for a beautician building. You can use this for a construction business, a real estate service, on and on and on and on. All right, now what other type of groups can this pertain to? What other type of applications, actually? Let's go into our second explanation. Our second application is the customer base, client base, and fan base development. Customer base, client base, and fan base development. This is the second type of group economics application. All right, let's kind of go into that and check that out a little bit. Now, by developing your own group of followers, your own supporters and customers before your product or your service or your project goes to market, or before it's up and running, you have a targeted and you have a prepared market that you target demographically or whatever in advance of your project rollout. You target them demographically. So let's use an example to help explain and illustrate how that can be used and how that can be applied. Suppose there's an old television. We all, I would say all of us probably watched the show or two. Maybe it was canceled prematurely, maybe some years back or even recently, in our view, and we felt powerless at the time to do anything about it. Even even the stars who starred in the show, or maybe the producers who put on the show and produced it, they might have been taken aback as well by the decision to cancel the show. Mhm. This may be a familiar thing we may have experienced. Now, if we can gather the support of an existing fan base of that show, the existing fan base may be willing to support this show being remade again. It's possible. You have some fans. But let's pick a round number. Let's say if we could find about 1 million or so fans who might be willing to support a project to remake the television show, their favorite old series. Maybe we could be a runtime reunion show. Maybe it'll be another season or a couple of seasons of the series. Whatever it would be. If we can get 1 million, find 1 million fans out there who are willing to spend $5 or $10, maybe, to see their favorite show redone, then we have a $5 or $10 million budget for the project based on the funds that we've been able to raise. Now we don't need major studios. We don't need Hollywood politics. We just pick the script. We pick the writers. We pick the directors. We pick the location. We pick the equipment, the distribution, even the theaters. Or if we're going to broadcast it on online television stations or mediums or websites or whatever, to play it, to screen the thing, to stream the film. We have the actors' salaries covered. We can do all of that using this particular group economics application and this platform for funding that project. Now, this is similar to crowdfunding or crowdsourcing, but it's a little bit of a slight twist, but it's very similar to that. Let's use another example of this particular application, this particular group economics application, this fan base, building this fan base, this customer base, and this client base. Now, suppose we're fed up with maybe a big corporate cable company, big satellite provider. Maybe it's Comcast, maybe it's Verizon, or some other big corporate provider, whoever it is. Maybe there's been an issue, maybe a complaint, maybe whatever the problem may have been. Now, after gathering or finding 1 million people who would like an alternative provider for films, movies, TV shows, entertainment programming, whatever you want to provide or they want to see, and they're all willing to pay 10, 20 bucks, whatever, either a month or one-time fee or whatever amount that would cover the costs of that particular venture or that particular project that Comcast was doing or Verizon or whoever it was doing. Then there's your fan base. You have a support base. Now, that amount would cover the cost of providing that alternative online broadcast, digital broadcast, offline, some other form of transmission, prearranged or negotiate with or that's already been arranged. Or for that amount of people, we can also negotiate with an existing provider if we want to do that too. We can go to them and say, look, we got X million people that want to do X million things, and we're willing to do so, whatever, with satellite radio or some other existing or paying customer base with our base that we've already built. Now, you can do that using this particular group economics application and this platform. Now, these are just two quick examples of the fan base, the customer base, and the client base. Now, the choices and the options are endless, but you see how that could work in this particular type of usage. Number three is a self-sustaining, self-supporting self-sufficient community. A third type of group or group economics application would be the self-sustaining, self-supporting, self-commuting, self-sufficient community application. Now, this is dedicated to a specific group or a specific subgroup or target market. Okay, let's go into another example. Let's see this. Let's explain this in the form of an actual example or potential example. Let's say you want to do something to help United States veterans. Okay, you target veterans from different locations, veterans from different wars, veterans of different age brackets, tailoring your message to veterans' needs, focusing on serving the needs of veterans and the interest of veterans as a community. Okay, suppose you want to help single moms or African Americans or Hispanic Americans or high school dropouts, graduating teens, college graduates, senior citizens, any type of group or community that is already established, already existing, or that you want to build and establish. In that group or that community, it would be a self-sustaining, self-supporting community. If those members or the people that were interested in supporting that particular group or that particular target market, if they're willing to invest for that group or that market or that community or membership, donate, purchase, whatever dollar amount is necessary as a member, as a customer, as a donor, as an investor, as a partner, as a supporter, then that group, that, segment or that target market could be considered self-supporting and self-sustaining. We don't have to go outside of anyone else or whatever. It's internally self-supported and self-sustaining. Now, this can be a for-profit venture for, capitalism, entrepreneurism, free enterprise, or a non-profit venture for a legitimate cause or a legitimate charity of your choice. Breast cancer awareness, autism, illiteracy, uh, whatever, our favorite cause is. Now, we can do that using this particular group economics application and platform. Now, those are just a few examples. As you can see, the list of possibilities is endless as long as it's ethical and legal. And finally, a fourth application, group economics application, number 4, cooperative economics or profit sharing. This is the fourth type of subgroup, or fourth type of GE application in cooperative economics or profit sharing. Now, this is another type of group setting using the cooperative model, the co-op model, profit sharing model. Just looking at an example. Now, suppose you have a manufacturing plant or factory that makes or creates clothing. The workers at the plant, they're not just employees. They're actually cooperative owners, and they have a cooperative share in a percentage of the company's profits. Now, the arrangement would preferably be an equal amount of shares distributed to each worker, each member, each employee. The share or the amount can be based on different types of criteria or various criteria, different types of methods, depending on how you set up the structure. It can get a little complex, depending on how deep you want to go into it. But the employee situation would just be one type of example where it could be done. It could be also set up if it's for members in a membership setting, club setting, whatever you want to call it, ownership setting, investor setting, whatever position or whatever stake that each participant has in the profit sharing model or the revenue sharing structure, and the income generated would be distributed, throughout either based on the individual or based on their share. And then the legal and the mathematical layout would have to be beneficial for all parties within the arrangement on the short-term level as well as on the long-term level. Now, you can do that co-op economic model using this particular application and platform. This is a group model, a group economics model. These are just a few examples. The list of possibility is endless as long as it's ethical and legal. But you see where I'm going with it. So that's about it. I just wanted to go over briefly all the different possibilities and the different applications, or really just 4 of them. There could be a few more, but these are 4 of the main ones we want to focus on for group economics and these subgroup applications. So just want to go over those 4 right quick. Thank you very much for listening briefly, and I'll talk with you next time. Thanks again.